This is the Testosterone Zone podcast with Noel, Keith, and Steve. And now, brace yourself for greatness.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 43. Hey, this is Keith. I'm here with my buddies, Noel. Noel, what's up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
What's up, Steve? You over there?
I am here. Howdy, everybody.
Awesome. So we have our new friend that we've just met through this whole Pick 5 challenge thing, Brett, on with us. And Brett is he has an Instagram page called The Road to CFB. And basically, Brett, I don't want to steal your thunder, but you have a pretty lofty goal that we've talked about a little bit before when we gave you a shout out. But I can't wait to hear kind of the goal that you have in college football. And then we'd also like to just hear, based on that goal, I know you've done some of those, some of the footwork this year, and I'd love to hear places that you went that you've had a good time, a good experience, maybe some things that surprised you, some things that you think is just some of the best traditions out there. I'm going to turn it over to you, man. Thank you so much for being part.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem.
My goal is to experience a game day at all 130 FBS schools, Division I. And it was originally just to see a game at all of them. But I've since expanded because there's so much more to Saturdays or Fridays or Thursdays or those midweek action days than just a game. There's tradition and tailgating and the people and the campus and, the surrounding community. So I've expanded it to experiencing a game day at all of these Division I programs. And this year I was able to tack on 16 more schools, mostly in the state of Texas. My original point of origin for this was up in Western Ohio. So I went to Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Bowling Green. But then I went to some farther ones at North Carolina and Georgia and Kentucky. But this year with my relocation to Texas, I've seen a lot of the local Texas teams. So I've been to Kyle Field at Texas A&M. I've been to Baylor, went to Texas. I made it all the way out to LSU, Tulane. And I just recently closed up the 2018 campaign at North Texas and SMU on back-to-back nights, which are pretty cool. So it's been quite an experience this year. I just hit 10,000 miles on the tour, and with a trip out to local favorite Texas Tech there.
Yeah, right.
And I also had my first car troubles of the whole thing. My car's got 155,000 miles, and for the first time, it got flat. And I had to have some work done, and I also caught my first speeding ticket.
Nice.
Lots of memories on the road there.
Yeah. Those aren't the kind of memories you want, man.
No, they're not.
No, I had to pick up a couple, extra shifts at work, but that's okay. It's all part of the experience. There's no way I was going to make it through the whole thing without getting a flat tire or speeding ticket or anything like that.
Honestly, to just have one of each of those is pretty impressive.
Knocking on wood, I don't get another of either.
That's right.
Would be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So you drove out to like North Carolina and all that too? I mean, are you flying anywhere? Or are you doing it's all driving?
Yeah, no, it's all driving. I'm not old enough to rent a car, so I could fly somewhere and then I'd be down, stuck with Uber. When I went to North Carolina, my dad and I went as kind of, a guy's trip for the weekend. So he took his car. Other times, I've taken other people's cars because I brought my friends along as well. But for a lot of the legwork has been my good old trusty 2005 Honda Accord.
Hey, wow. Can't go wrong with the Honda.
Wow.
Man.
No, you cannot.
No.
So Brett, how many total schools have you attended so far?
So I've been to 27 as of now. And next year, I'm hoping to keep up the pace, maybe even pick it up a little bit. I'm refocusing my efforts in the Midwest, and I will be going to a bunch of midweek action games. I'd love to be able to start pushing 50 by the end of next season.
Wow.
Golly.
Awesome.
Man, that's quite a goal. Goodness. That is something else. Man, what started this? Was this just like you're sitting on the couch watching the game going, man, I want to go and experience game day at this school or something? And the whole idea, how did the idea come to you to go after this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it actually started with, I just had an infatuation with the stadiums. The first edition of Road to CFB was just me going to these empty stadiums and take a picture outside, cool, walk around it, look at it, and move on. And so I was mostly at local places and places that were on the way on road trips. Just kind of pull off to the side of the road and look at it, and I'm like, this is great. After about 30 of those, I decided that this just isn't enough. I want to see what these are like full. I want to see what they're like at the rivalry games when they're sold out, on a Saturday when people are tailgating around. And so that kind of began as that. And I was going to do it as a side project. And my roommate and I went up to Eastern Michigan, and I was like, I really like this, but I can't think of a way to document it. I could put it on a website, but nobody'd see it. How would I get the word out there? And so he came up with the idea, hey, start an Instagram account. I'm like, you're a genius. And the rest kind of followed suit after that. This is actually the first season that I've really taken documenting everything seriously. Last year was kind of more of a experience it myself. Get my picture in the stadium, go to the game, do a write-up about it, and call it a day. But this season, I've kind of taken it next step, and I'm like, well, there's so many cool things about each school that makes them unique, and I want to be able to share it with everybody else. So I've gone into further in depth in documenting the traditions and the cultures around each school.
And, awesome. And your Instagram is what?
My Instagram is at Road to CFB.
Okay, so listeners, follow him. He's got some great stuff on there.
That's cool.
Yeah, I try. It's and a lot more coming next season. But in the off season when it could be a dead period, it's not a dead period for us. I'm still going to be showing a lot of stuff. Won't show all my cards here, but I'd like to maybe get some facility tours going. And of course, when those spring exhibition games come around, you can bet I'm going to be at a couple.
That'll be good.
Awesome. So, Brett, of all the schools you visited so far, what would you say is your top 3 favorites?
Top 3. That's so much easier than saying a top 1. Everybody asks about the top 1, but there really is no top 1. So, I have a little bit of recency bias on this, but Texas A&M is just next level. The noise in that stadium. I went to a game against Northwestern State, I think it was. Some FCS team I've never heard of before, and this place was unbelievable. I came out with this pounding headache. So Texas A&M is definitely up there. LSU is up there again. Same story, just incredibly loud stadium. I got to see it on a Saturday night, which is famed there, and I also got to participate in their tailgating and got to have some of that tailgating food. So LSU definitely up there. And as a third best experience, I got to see the Ohio State Michigan game in Ann Arbor last year, and I don't think you could beat that. As a huge Ohio State fan myself, that was just incredible. So I'd say those are my top 3 experiences so far: Texas A&M, LSU, and Michigan in no particular order.
Yeah,
wow. Those are three good picks.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd love to see a game at either the Horseshoe or the Big House. I tell you, either one.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with.
The Horseshoe is actually louder. By a pretty decent margin, but the scale of the Big House is just incredible. It's just one level. There's not multiple decks like you have at the Horseshoe, and it's just a giant bowl of on the day almost 113,000 people.
That's just amazing.
That's nuts.
It really is.
Yeah,
it's like bigger than the town I live in is there. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody in the whole city is there at one game. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Man. So what are some things that have surprised you?
Yeah, so the biggest surprise, I think, my go-to is the tailgating at Tulane. It's this small private institution just outside of downtown New Orleans. And, I think the student body is no bigger than 7,000. And so I expected a real quiet game day, and we're walking through their campus, and it's got a lot of Spanish moss and live oak and dark brick buildings. That's just quintessential Southern school, and it's real quiet. And then you get to the quad, I guess, or the middle of the campus, and there's a mosh pit of thousands of students, and they're shotgunning beers everywhere and breaking tables, and it's just incredible. And then halfway throughout their tailgating, they all as one giant herd pick everything up, and they just move. They just went across the lawn, which is incredible to see all these students just pick everything up and leave nothing behind. And then they set up shop right next to the opposing alumni association tent, which happened to be Memphis of the day, and continued their shenanigans.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Oh my God.
It was incredible to watch. We're looking at them, we're like, what are they doing? They sat down right next to Memphis. We're like, yep.
That's awesome.
I love college football for stuff like, just the traditions and stuff. I'm not a big NFL fan, but I'm so biased towards college football. But college football's got traditions, it's got alumni, it's got passion and heart. It's just the bands, it's just the whole atmosphere is just so much better, I think, than NFL. But anyway, like I said, I'm pretty biased, but
It really is.
that's cool. What a neat. And I'm glad you're documenting this too, because that's something that not a lot of people get to experience. They probably tend to go to their alum or their favorite school or whatever, but that's about it. They don't get to travel very much. They don't follow their school to away games and things like that to see all the different the different tailgating and traditions and things like that. So what you're getting to experience is something that not very many people get to experience. So that's really cool,
and
Brett.
there's only a couple of us that I know of that are out there doing this same thing, and only a few of us are documenting it. And I guess when I do my research on the schools before I go, I try to look up Michigan State game day traditions, and nothing comes up. The school has a traditions page, but one of those things might be on the 4th Saturday of every March, we do this on campus. And I'm like, well, that's not game day. So as far as I know, there's really no complete archive of what these schools are doing. And, you can go on Sports Illustrated or ESPN.com and find the top 10 traditions in college football. Well, those are the traditions we all know. You're missing out on You're missing out on Peruna at SMU, which is this little pony that they trot around that leads the band everywhere, and the band actually matches what the pony wears. The pony decides, as they say. All these traditions at the smaller schools, the group of 5 schools that people are just totally missing out on, or even at the big schools that have these traditions that many people don't know about. It's not the biggest tradition that everybody knows, but it's still just as fun. And it really gives the school a sense of uniqueness and pride and community.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That is really cool.
Give us an example of another small school tradition you've seen that you like.
Oh man, there's so many of them. At Houston, there's these 2 cougar statues kind of hidden away on campus. If you go up and you rub their paws, it gives you good luck. Similarly at Texas State, there's a statue on campus of one of the presidents in his college years, and if you go up and shake his hand, that's supposed to bring you good luck as well. Maybe not a small school one, but one that I'm sure you guys are familiar with that I had no idea at Texas Tech. People sneak all sorts of tortillas in, and after the opening kickoff, after touchdowns, they just throw them like frisbees onto the field, and there's nothing anybody can do. And they say, "Oh, we'll give you a 15-yard on sports." I'm like, "No, you won't." There's these traditions that seriously I didn't know until I got there. And this guy that I met up at a tailgate with, he was like, "Just watch your head for flying tortillas." And I was like, "What?" And as soon as that opening kickoff went out, I was like, all right.
We've been hit by many of those.
Surely.
Pretty sure the engineering department has aerodynamic studies on them.
It has to be. Yeah.
So that tradition started during our college days. So we remember
Really
exactly when that happened. And the story, if I recall correctly, was we were playing A&M, and they, in advance of the game, there's that normal smack talk between teams and everything, and they refer to us as Tortilla Tech. And Heath, no, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but so that that triggered everybody showing up to the game of tortillas. Sure enough, for the first time, that's when it happened, and can't pinpoint the year, but we were all there when it happened, and we're painfully aware of what it feels like to get hit by a tortilla when you're standing down on the field level. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you guys told me the history of that. That's something I probably wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty cool.
It was probably 94, I bet. 94 is probably when it started.
Somewhere around there, 93, 94.
Yeah. Right around there was when we went to the Cotton Bowl, and I just remember they had the logos of both the teams in the ends in the like in the track that went around the outside of the stadium, the Cotton Bowl, and probably by the end of the first quarter, the SC logo, because we were playing USC, the SC logo had almost been completely covered up with tortillas. People were just aiming for that logo to cover it up.
Yeah. It was our only win that day, but it was a good win.
That was the only thing we could brag about that whole day.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I remember there was a time where it got out of hand. There were so many tortillas going off. You remember? I mean, it was like the entire stadium. Before it got kind of where they were trying to regulate a little bit. It was. I mean, the sky would go dark at some point. It was crazy.
They start throwing tostada shells at you. The next thing you know, we're making it to the double T on the middle of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
So Brett, A&M is one of the schools that we sort of, like better terms, despise, and we've always had a love-hate with them. But if you talk to any Aggie fan, they'll say, hey, coming to Lubbock is not a good experience. They cuss you out, they'll fight you, they'll pour beer on you, and they'll even throw batteries at you. So, Brett, I'm curious, when you went to Lubbock, what size battery were you hit by?
Well, I guess if you guys talk about backup teams, Tech isn't really a backup team, but I have a soft spot for them. I really like them. So I was actually wearing Tech gear that day. My girlfriend was wearing Oklahoma, so she might have caught a battery, but she didn't tell me about it. I was thankful to say I didn't catch any.
Yeah. Well, good for you for wearing Tech gear.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, people tell you that Ohio State has some of the nastiest fans in the country, and as an Ohio State fan, I will concede to that. I will say you are 100% right. I went into Ann Arbor wearing a Scarlet Block O, and I got no fights. I caught a couple of jeers, but mostly people were cool about it. But you wear that Maze M in Columbus, and I'm not sure you'll get out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Gosh. Pretty rabid fan base.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you plot the stadiums you're going to go to, like in the next few seasons? Are you trying to go by conference? Are you trying to go by proximity? What's your thoughts?
So I've been going by proximity, and I think I will probably continue to go by proximity just because that's what's easiest, I suppose. So what happens is when these schedules come out in late March, I probably have 15 to 20 different drafts of the schedule that I'm going to do. It all depends on, just depends on when the games are, if it's feasible for me to go. Because sometimes, a game might be on a Friday and I might work that Friday morning and can't make it because it starts at 6:00 and it's 2.5 hours away. I probably wouldn't be able to make that.
Right.
But yeah, proximity is definitely the way I go. I also look for games that are on the way. So, for example, when I went to LSU this year, Tulane was playing the night before, and they're only an hour east of there. And so I was like, oh, we'll go to Tulane, we'll stay overnight, and then we'll make our way back to LSU. Again, same thing with UNT and SMU. And I do have certain schools I group together, like Louisville and Western Kentucky, and Marshall and West Virginia. If those schools are going to be playing on a Friday and Saturday, or a Thursday and Friday, or a Thursday and Saturday, I'm going to make an effort to go to both of them because who doesn't love football on back-to-back nights? But then it also comes down to budget games. So, others that might try to do this are looking for the biggest game. So if I had to pick a Texas A&M game to go to this year, I might have picked the one where they hosted Alabama or where they hosted LSU. But I'm still a broke college student. I'm still very much hurting financially. So I have to find the budgetary games to go to. You know, I scored tickets to Auburn, Mississippi State for $17.
Wow.
That's not bad at all.
So it goes proximity first, and then price of the tickets second. And each season, I want to be able to pick 1 or 2 games that are like way out of the proximity. So this year it was LSU and Mississippi State, and in the first season it was North Carolina and Georgia.
So have you had anybody like give you tickets, like, you know, provide them for you? Have somebody been gracious?
Yeah, actually, I have to give a huge shout out to TCU's chancellor. Believe it or not, my dad's cousin went to high school with him, and he was gracious enough to send me not only tickets, but they were tickets like in the 10th row at the 50-yard line in his luxury seats.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've had people reach out to me on Instagram that are like, "Hey, I got season tickets to Clemson. You know, if you ever make it out here, I'll put you up, feed you dinner, give you a ticket." So I do have people that have offered tickets, but you know that's not necessarily the point. You know, I'm not doing it to get the tickets. I'm not doing it to get you know, special perks. But I have had several people reach out and saying, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. I got a place for you to stay if you make it out here."
That's cool. I mean, I'm sure that's not your goal, but boy, that sure helps. Like you say, I mean, even for us who've been out of college for a while, that's a pricey endeavor you're doing. So that's pretty gracious of folks. So
yeah, no, I always appreciate them. And I will always give credit where credit's due when people are helping me out.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome, man. Well, any final thoughts? We really appreciate you being on and taking the time out of your day and your weekend and the holiday weekend on top of that to be with us and visit with us. Any last thoughts that were maybe things you'd like to bring up that we hadn't asked yet?
You know, I can't really think of it. You know, I have so much going on that, you know, I could probably talk about this for 6 hours, but I do appreciate you guys having me on. You know, really, really means a lot to get the word out and be able to chat with people who are interested.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, when we put our program notes out, do you mind if we send a link to your Instagram page?
Please do.
Okay. Certainly will. Well, man, we really appreciate you being on. And again, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brett.
Hey, fellas, Keith here. You know what? The holidays are upon us. And with that, we all are looking for that unique item to get our brothers, our fathers, our friends. And at the same time, our girlfriends and spouses may be asking us, what is it that we want for Christmas? Well, I'll tell you, one of the most unique gifts that I've received is the gift of a subscription box from bespokepost.com. And if you use Testosterone's promotional code TZONE20, TZONE20, you'll get 20% off your first subscription box. So head on over to bespokepost.com today and look through their unique boxes and pick up one with a 20% discount with TZone20. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, do you guys know why why crabs don't give to charity?
Why crabs don't give to charity?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because they're shellfish.
That's so bad.
Hey!
Oh my.
Starting us off strong.
That's right.
God, that's a bad joke.
The other day, my friend and I, we were playing chess, and he looked at me and said, "Let's make things interesting." So we stopped playing chess.
Nice.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at a website that has some Christmas jokes, you know, now that we're in the Christmas holiday season. So here's a question for you. What do you call an elf who sings?
An elf who sings.
I have no idea.
A rapper. Get it? Christmas rap.
That's so bad.
Oh, man. I was hoping it wasn't that.
We're not trying to put you on the spot, Brett, but do you have any painful jokes that you could share with us?
You know, I'm not too terribly well versed in dad jokes, but I did look one up just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You're the man.
So did you guys hear about the restaurant that's on the moon?
I don't.
It's got great food, great food, but no atmosphere.
That one.
Oh, that one's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
slipping one in there.
Oh.
So
That's right. Oh man.
well,
Again, Brett, thank you so much for being on. And honestly, after each season, we'd love to have you on periodically. Just give us a recap. If you'd like to come, you are more than welcome. We would appreciate you being on if you have the time. We've really enjoyed getting your updates throughout the season, and thank you so much for taking part in the Pick 5 Challenge with us. We really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. You know, I'll make the time anytime to sit down and talk with y'all.
awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, Steve, Noel, any final thoughts?
No,
Just a reminder to our listeners, we'll be posting the ESPN Bowl Pick'em within the next week, so be on the lookout for that, and should be a lot of fun, just like the Pick 5 was.
It sure should. And everybody have a wonderful start to the Christmas holiday season. And we are actually, this is going to be probably one of the last episodes that we'll be doing until the end of the year. We'll have a little snippet episode that we'll be doing some of our best, if you want to call them best jokes. So I'll do a little snippet. But for those of you that are listening, if you want to send us an email or send us a messenger or an audio file of a painful joke that you'd like to share, we'd like to mix those in with the ones that we've done over the past episodes. So please do. And other than that, have a great day, and we'll talk to you everybody soon.
take care, guys.
Later, everybody.
Merry bowl season.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. We sure had a blast visiting with you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, leave us some feedback, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All Testosterone Zone podcast episodes are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve, unless otherwise noted.
The opinions expressed in the Testosterone Zone podcast are our own and not those of our employers, families, parents, kids, dogs, cats, your mom, or any other entity Noel, Keith, or Steve are affiliated with now, in the past, or in the future, or ever.